Okay, so first thing to know, to find the equation of a line, we must have 2 points. I cannot draw a line and identify it uniquely without 2 points. I need 2 points for me to say, okay, this is the line corresponding to those 2 points. So we need 2 points. And if we have those 2 points, the line will pass through the 2 points. So in a graph, I can illustrate it. So if I do not have those 2 points, x1, x2, y1, y2, there is no way that we can find the equation of a line unless we have additional information in a different sort. So eventually, the information that you have should be complete. And when would it be complete? If you have 2 points, then it would be complete. Okay. Now, how do we find the equation of the line? First step is to find the slope. And we all know how to find the slope, which is simply y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The second step is to plug in and you solve for b. So first you find the slope, and once you have the slope, you pick one of the 2 points and you plug in the slope, you plug in the points for x and y. So perhaps I could plug in x1 here, y1 there, and I can solve for b. So once you solve for b, you know the y-intercept. So gives the y-intercept b. So now we know the slope, we know the y-intercept, so the equation of the line in slope intercept form is y equals m times x plus b. So you just plug in the slope that we found, the y-intercept that we found, and we are done. Now there is another type of, or another equation which represents a line also. So we call that a point slope form, which simply means it has a point, it has a slope. It's the same as the above equation y equals mx plus b. It had a slope, it had a y-intercept. We called it the slope-intercept form. So what does this form look like? You can either have one of the points and the slope. So here I'm using y1, x1, and the slope that I found. So that will give you the equation of the line in point slope form. Or you can plug in the second point and you'll have the same answer. So y minus y2 equals m times x minus x2. It really doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. And the last form of an equation of a line is the general form, which is what we saw in the previous video. So you have ax plus by equals c. If you look at the previous video, what we had is, for example, we had 2x plus 3y equals 2. So what we did is we had to move the x terms to the other side and divide it by 3, and we solved for y to get the equation of the line. So what you see here is called the general form of the line. So in our case, that would be uppercase A, uppercase B, and that is uppercase C. The general form sometimes is also called the standard form of the line. Depending on the textbook, people like to use one or the other. A key thing to note here is you can take the point slope form you do some algebra, add, subtract, divide, multiply, and you will get the slope intercept form. If you took the general form and if you rearrange it like we did in the previous video, so do some algebra, you will get the slope intercept form. By all means, the slope intercept form is the most commonly used version of a line. So before we move on, the slope intercept form you can look at the equation and you can get the slope and the intercept just by looking at it. The point slope form, only the slope can be noticed directly. Unless you do algebra, in which case you'll just convert it to slope intercept form. In the general form, only, well, technically, I should write it as this is a better way of writing it. In other words, you may see the exact slope and y-intercept just by looking at the general form, or you may not. We may have to do a bit of algebra, which is why if you have an equation in point slope form or general form, there is a need for algebra, a bit of algebra, prior to getting it in slope intercept form. But slope intercept form is nice. If anytime you have an equation in slope intercept form, we could find the equation right away. So here we have the slope and y-intercept, and we have to write it in the slope intercept form. the slope is given to us, so m is -1. The y-intercept is the point 0, 1. So this is the x, 0 is the x value, 1 is the y value, and what we need is the y value. So we know the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The slope is given to us, which is -1. So I can simply plug that in. And we need a point. And we know that the line will definitely cut through the y-intercept. That is why we call it the y-intercept. So plug in the point. So x is 0, y is 1. So 1 would equal to -1 times 0 plus b. 1 equals 0 plus b, which should imply b is 1. So the slope is given in the problem. The y-intercept is 1. This would imply the equation of the line y equals mx, so -1x plus b, which is 1. Again, we have a slope and y-intercept in the second problem here. I'm going to write both the point slope-intercept form as well as the point slope form for that particular problem. So in the problem, we have m to be 1/2. The y-intercept is the point 0, -6. So when x is 0, y is -6. Just by looking at it, we can say that the y-intercept is -6. Why is that? If we have a line and that is the y-intercept, the line is going to pass through the y-axis, and we know the value of x is 0 in the y-axis. Along the y-axis, the value of x is always 0. So the y-intercept can be directly obtained by looking at the given point, which is -6. We could have done the same thing in the previous problem, but I just wanted to show it on how we can find it. So slope is given, so 1/2. The point is given, so I'm going to plug in 0, 1 and solve for b. So y would equal m is 1/2, x is 0, y is 1, or -6, I'm sorry, that should be -6, plus b, which would imply b is -6. So the slope-intercept form is y equals m 1/2 times x plus b. It is the same as saying 1/2 x minus 6. Now I have a point, I have a slope. So I could directly write this in point slope form. So the formula is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So we have y minus x1, y1 would be our point. Y minus 0 equals the slope, which is 1/2, times x minus, y minus minus 6, because y is negative 6, and x minus 0. So it would reduce to y negative times negative 6 is positive 6 equals 1/2 x minus 0, which is simply 1/2 x. Now, earlier I mentioned that if we do some algebra, we're going to get the slope-intercept form. So what I have here is y plus 6 equals 1/2 x. Distribute that 1/2. 1/2 times 0 is 0, so minus 0. Move the 6 to the other side. Positive 6 would now become negative 6, which is the same answer as the one we had earlier. So whether it is a point slope form or a slope intercept form, it really doesn't matter. They represent the same equation, but we can always convert the point slope form to a slope intercept form. Here, m, the slope is 2. And again, just by looking at it, we know the y-intercept is 3/4. But if we have to use the process, first we find the slope. In this problem, the slope is given to us. We plug in the point and solve for b. So y is 3/4, m is 2, x is 0 plus b, which would mean b is 3/4. So that is the y-intercept. So the equation is y equals mx, so 2x, plus b, so plus 3/4. Now, we want to find the equation in slope-intercept form, and this is an equation that is passing right through the origin. So the pair 0, 0 is what we call the origin. It is the center of the xy plane. Step 1, we have to find the slope. The slope is -4. And step 2, we plug in and we solve for b. So we know y is equal to mx plus b. So plug in the point. 0 would equal to -4 times 0 plus b, which would mean b is 0. So the equation of the line is y equals -4x plus 0, which is just -4x. And that line is decreasing. It is a decreasing line. So the next one, we don't have a y intercept. Rather, we're just saying it has the slope of -4 and it is passing through 2 minus 4. So we know the slope, so we'll start with that. And we know the equation, slope-intercept form. And that is our point, 2, -4. So I know an x value, I know a corresponding y value, so I can plug in the x and y values and solve for b. So when x is 2, y is -4. So -4 is equal to the slope, -4. The x value is 2 plus b. -4 would equal to -8 plus b. Move the 8 to the other side, it would become +8, and 8 minus 4 is 4. So the equation of the line is simply y equals -4x plus 4. Now that is one way of doing that problem. Now I am going to show you using the point slope form in the next one, and you will end up getting the same answer if you tried using the approach that I just did. So I'm going to put a note here. So this is using you can pick and choose. You can either take the approach that we did in the previous problem, or you can do what I'm about to do. So a point is given to us. I'll call it x1, y1. The slope is given to us, and we know y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. That is the standard slope point slope form. So y minus y1 is 4 equals m is 2/3. X minus x1 is -9. It's always better to put negative numbers within parentheses. So y minus 4 would equal to 2/3. X minus of -9 is +9. Y minus 4 equals, distribute the 2/3. You have 2/3 x plus 2/3 multiplied by 9. So the 3 and the 9 will get cancelled 3 times. So we will have y minus 4 equals 2/3 x plus 2 times 3 is 6. Move the 4 to the other side. -4 to the other side, it would become +4. So you have y equals 2/3x plus 6 plus 4 is 10. And that is in slope-intercept form. So you can either take the approach that we did in the previous problem, or you could do it this way. The slope is -1/5. We know y is equal to mx plus b. When x is 4, y is -6. So -6 is equal to -1/5 times 4 plus b. -6 would equal -4/5 plus b. Move the -4/5 to the other side. Have -6 plus 4/5 equals b. Now, you can combine this as mixed fractions and do it that way, or you can simply look at it by getting the common denominator. So we have to combine -6 and 4/5. So if I multiply that -6 by 5 and divide by 5, I'm going to get a 5 in the denominator. So I have a common denominator, which means I can combine the numerators. So -30/5 plus 4/5 equals b. So -26, I could write it as -30 plus 4 divided by 5 would equal b. So b is -26/5. So the slope intercept form is y equals m -1/5x plus b, which is plus -26/5.